Mal, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Dad to dad, we need your help on this one.
Welcome to the danger zone, or should I say the parent zone? You got everything?
Yeah, I sure hope so.
Juice box?
Check.
Snacks?
Check.
Of course, and the wipies. Jeff, tell me you brought the wipies.
Oh boy. Well, from the skies of Top Gun to the chaos of parenting, today's guest has spent over a decade channeling Maverick, but says maybe his favorite role is dad, soon to be a father of four. Please welcome to the show, Jerome LeBlanc. Hey, Jerome, do we call you Jerome? Is it Tom Maverick?
Jerome, well, I go by Captain now. I know I should be a two-star admiral, but, it's one of life's mysteries. But I'm a dad.
You're a dad of soon-to-be four. Congratulations, by the way. I think you said due date is in September. Really exciting. But we were having fun with it. Maverick, Iceman. Those are what you call call signs, right? For the parents that are out there, it's like the nicknames of pilots. And as far as I understand, you can't come up with your own, right?
The Navy does. Well, your squadron or people you work with usually come up with the call sign.
So on that note, I spent the week getting photos. I asked our tutor staff to send us funny, silly photos of their kids. And we also did a photo shoot recently for some other children as well. And so I found some interesting pictures. I thought it'd be fun for you and me to come up with some call signs for these guys. Can we take a look?
Okay.
Let's do it. So let's start it off with this. We got a 1-year-old celebrating his birthday, foot in the cake.
Icing.
I like it. All right, let's move on.
Call sign. You help me here, Jeff.
I'm thinking ragdoll.
Huh?
She's kind of like just, over the chair, kind of like a doll.
Okay.
All right, here's another one. Kid upside down in a basket. Look at that.
We'll go back to the inversion.
Inversion? Inverted? I like it. Or wheels up. Mayday? Yeah. All right, this next one's maybe a little easier. Spaghetti meatballs on the face.
I'll go with spaghetti,
Yeah, or
red sauce.
Meat sauce.
Red sauce, yeah.
Red sauce. There we go.
I
like it. I like
their
it.
call sign was hot sauce or jalapeno.
Call signs are jalapeno?
Yeah.
That's spicy. You got to have like a real personality to pull that off,
Absolutely.
So silly. Thanks for indulging me, letting me have a little fun to kick things off. We're a parenting podcast. Most of our audience is parents with kids under the age of 13. So we want to know all about you. How do you juggle your schedule with 3 kids, 4th on the way? How do you pull that off? You're all over the country. I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about your career to get things started. Who are you? Most people have probably seen you on social media. You're probably the best Tom Cruise impersonator in the country.
Right here in the danger zone with my man, my wingman.
Yeah. How do you get started doing this? How do you find that you have this kind of talent?
Well, honestly, it happened very organically. I moved to Los Angeles in 2009 to study architecture, and people would constantly tell me I looked like Tom Cruise, which I've never heard before. I'm originally from Canada, Montreal, and I just never heard it, growing up in Canada. But I never took it seriously at first, and I was always, creative, and I was studying architecture. I was into performance, cinematography, storytelling, and entertaining people. And one day I leaned into it for fun, It was Halloween 2009, and I put the Maverick uniform on. And I started recreating some of the energy and confidence people associate with Maverick. And the reaction was just incredible. What surprised me the most was how much joy it brought to people. And it wasn't just looking like Tom Cruise. It was people were emotionally connected to the movies and to the nostalgia, the music, the feeling of freedom and adventure, especially with Top Gun. And there's this emotional connection across generations that I think Maverick brings. And I think the moment I realized it could become a real profession was when companies started flying me across the country for corporate events and major productions.
We want to really make a special thanks to our show's very own Tom Cruise, Jerome LeBlanc, who is here.
And I realized this wasn't just, a gimmick. It was entertainment, character work. And I really started enjoying putting a smile on people's face. And from there, it kept growing into something much bigger than I ever imagined. It's been 17 years now that I do this full time, bringing back that loving feeling.
You never close your eyes. I'll stop right there. Okay, so you had the look. Did you always have the voice, or did that come in time?
So the voice was the main thing I focused on because French is my first language. And so my wife's from Jersey, so I heard the Jersey accent. I started noticing, the words were, it was easier to understand the American accent from her Jersey accent. Let's put it this way. And I started mimicking the way she speaks, coffee, water, and tone it down, of course. And it helped like adjusting the melody. The French has a different melody. And that's what really was tough at first.
Yeah, and like just about anything, I imagine it takes time to become like the polished, developed product.
Oh, the early stuff. I mean, I was wearing Converse. My uniform wasn't on point whatsoever. And so I would have definitely focused on wanting to make this happen. I was always doing it as for fun and to make ends meet while I was studying. And it's really my wife that says, you got to pursue this. This is something that's going to change, over time. And when we moved down to San Diego, not knowing Top Gun was filmed here, that's when I realized, oh, wow, there's something higher to do with this.
That's cool. It sounds like it was meant to be. Kismet. We have a segment on the show, Jerome, called Pass the Mic, where we have a previous podcast guest ask our next guest a question. And our last guest was the voice of the Super Bowl, Alan Roach. And he had this question for you.
My question would be, that Tom Cruise is very notable for doing all of his own stunts, whether it's being dragged behind a train or pulled in an airplane or thrown out of a car or whatever it is. Tom Cruise always does his own stunts, climbing up walls and mountains and whatever. If you had to choose one of the really cool and dangerous things that Tom Cruise has done that you feel like you could do your own stunt, which of those action sequences would it be?
Good question. You know what I would do? The same motorcycle stunt with the parachute that he did in the last Mission Impossible.
That's the one. Maybe his best.
Because I used to do that growing up with a bicycle, and we had some jogs on the bicycle, and we would jump in the river, and the bike would float, and it was just like, loved it. But now with the parachute, which I've done skydiving before, with enough training to do it solo, that would be the stunt I would do.
Getting back on track with the family-related stuff, you are a family man. So how did the family get started? How did you and your wife meet? Did you guys meet like this? Were you dressed like this?
We met almost 12 years ago on Hollywood Boulevard. She met me like this as Maverick, and she was flying in from Jersey, and she came to me. She wasn't used to seeing like Maverick impersonators since she's from, New York. She's seen the other character in Times Square, and she's like, wait, this is very different. And she approached me, and she says, I love your smile. She says, I know you get a lot of phone numbers, but choose me, I'm different. And it's engraved in our wedding rings, and it was love at first sight. The next day we were on a date in Malibu, and Her family was moving to San Diego a month later, so I chased her to Jersey. I convinced her to move to California earlier than she was supposed to, and the rest is history.
And obviously, it's all turned out really good for you guys. And then you have this family. Was that something that was planned? Did it just kind of happen? How did that all happen?
It was conscious. I would say we weren't in the right position to start, but I was like, why not start early, you know? And it was in 2009. We were living actually in a trailer in Ramona, trying to save money. I told her, I convinced her, because I was raised on a dairy farm, so I love the rural of San Diego. And we found this ranch in Ramona, and I said, hey, let's put a trailer. And the owners agreed, and so we were paying nothing. I was fixing things on the ranch, and she was working in an assisted living. And I said, let's have a child. And she wasn't completely convinced. And then we visited Montreal, and a friend of a mutual friend says, you want children, so why not start now? And so our daughter was born in 2019.
And so now you have, 3 kids, another one on the way. And how does that change things? I know for me, I ended up changing careers entirely. For other people, maybe they go and ask for the raise that they were too afraid to ask for because they need that extra financial money to now support another child or a first child. Did it change things for you at all?
It changed, like, the fact that, I want to travel less and stay home. So I'm always thinking about new ways to earn a living by doing more advertisement.
Behind on taxes? You're not alone. We got your 6.
Do you see that? It's a heads-up display. It shows Google Maps in your helmet, and it's connected to your phone.
Or getting skilled with videos from home, or here just locally in San Diego. So yeah, definitely. I love traveling, and I've been everywhere. I used to live in Russia. I lived in Peru. I lived in the UK for 1 year. Went to school there. So I really love to learn from traveling and throwing myself into the culture. So I miss that. I'm looking forward to teach them that part of me that they don't know yet. And I've always been very adventurous that way. So
and I don't know if you're like me, but my kids are young, 6 and 4, and I know your kids are also young. And so it is so cool to see how much they change daily at this point. And so my question for you is, what do you think? What is the best part about being a dad for you?
It's the hardest and the most beautiful thing to see them grow. For me, it's like I'm very emotional as a dad, and my dad wasn't really present in my life. They were too far away, 2 different cities. So I don't know necessarily what it is to be a perfect dad, or to be like a good dad. So I don't have that image, that example. So I'm always questioning myself. So I sometimes I do a little too much, or my wife, helps me with that. But I just, they're like little buddies, and I know I can't treat them like your friends just yet. You need to bring like discipline, but we do such fun things, teaching them just everything I know.
Being a dad certainly is rewarding, but it has its moments too, right? It can be frustrating. It can be a lot of emotions. What do you think is the biggest challenge? Is it scheduling wise? Is it emotionally? What's the biggest challenge for you?
The biggest challenge. It's really juggling, like, being an entrepreneur and being a father. That's the biggest challenge, because I don't have a schedule. I do evening events, but sometimes I can get a call and I'm going to jump on a plane and go to a different state, and I'm always thinking of the next project and what's gonna bring more business, and is it gonna stop? So so the biggest challenge is, I think, like, being self-employed as a entertainer. That's, I would say, but I'm trying to just go with the flow. I always lived with timing is everything, and it worked so far. I think it's people around me asking me always at events, so what are you going to do next? And I always joke because my dad looks like Joe Pesci. And I said, well, my cousin Vinny, 2 utes.
To what? What is a ute?
Oh,
Excuse me, Your Honor. 2 youths.
Youths. Great, fantastic movie. One of my favorites, by the way. You have the 7-year-old and your kids are getting older. Have your kids figured out like what you do, like who you are? Are they confused? Do they see you on TV or, Tom Cruise on TV and is that you? Have they figured it out?
They see a fighter jet in the sky and they point and they say, Daddy, Daddy. When the movie came out in 2023, my daughter was just like 4 years old and she thought I was on the bus stops, of Top Gun Maverick. But to them, I'm just dad, I'm Papa. But the oldest knows I impersonate Tom Cruise, but very often she sees the real picture of Tom Cruise and she's like, that's Daddy. And my wife says, no, that's Tom Cruise. And she says, no, it's Daddy. So, it's funny. I think their friends probably see it this bigger than it is because now she's in first grade and they hear what I do. And I brought her teacher to the Miramar Air Show last year. So, it's fun. They don't know yet. They're too young. Only my oldest is getting it.
And obviously your daughter, your kids are seeing your work. They see what you do. Do they think that's really cool? Do they want to be like dad when they grow up or the exact opposite?
Last week she asked me, she said, Daddy, what could I do when I grow up that I could just, no, actually she asked, she says, could I get some money if I smile? And I started laughing. I said, what do you mean? Like you want money like to smile? She says, well, that's what you do. So innocent. Yeah. I said, well, you can definitely make a living smiling. I said, it's called customer service. And I said, your mother and your dad are pretty good in customer service and hospitality. So we'll teach you everything that we know, in that field. But it was funny to hear it that way.
Well, and I would imagine, if it's anything like my 6-year-old, like what he wants to be when he grows up changes almost weekly. For the longest time, he wanted to be a pilot. I would imagine the same thing goes for your daughter. It's changing all the time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she wants to be a farmer. Yeah, she wants to have animals, and we foster animals constantly from that ranch that we stayed in touch with because the owner is in the Navy. So when we were in the trailer, when she got pregnant, which we had to get out of the trailer pretty fast because the morning sickness, she couldn't stand the smell of just the food in the fridge, and it was just too contained, So we moved to Rancho Bernardo, but we bring animals home. Like we had a lamb a couple of weeks ago in the house, from that ranch, and little baby chickens and ducklings, and so she loves that, and I was raised on a dairy farm. Hard work and taking care of animals, I've done that my entire life.
I want to move on to a fun segment we created just for this episode called The Danger Zone. As a dad, as a husband more specifically, I am constantly putting my foot in my mouth, and sometimes I don't realize I'm doing it until it's too late. And so I figured maybe you and I can come up with some scenarios that we're constantly going through. Maybe not realizing we're putting ourselves in the danger zone. And appropriately, we have the danger zone button here.
Okay.
It's ready. I've got the case flipped up. Let's both of us maybe share an example or two. And if we're getting in the danger zone, let's just hit it. I think it'll be helpful just to have those guidelines. For instance, so last weekend, it was time for bath time. And I had done the last 2 baths, the last 2 nights of baths with the kids. And so it's bath time, and my wife even says, bath time, and I wait for about 5 minutes, and she doesn't get up to go do the baths. And I'm sitting there, and I'm looking at her, and I'm wondering, okay, is she going to go do them? And eventually I just say, I've done it the last 2 nights. Uh-oh. I didn't realize the can of worms I was opening for that, because as soon as I said that, she goes, "Oh, well, guess what? I've done their laundry since they were born, and I've done the dishes for the last 3 weeks." And it was
oh, you want to go that route?
Yeah. It was an immediate problem, and You know? Okay, I got another one. Let me officially kick this off. If 4 Amazon packages show up on the same day, am I allowed to bring them to her and say, oh, what do we order here?
Ooh.
Should I hit it? Okay, so that is the danger zone. I was in the wrong. Okay. How about you? You got one?
I think my danger zone is being very eccentric as a father. Like, I think that's where I have to be more careful, because I think when I say, hey, what do you think about getting, like, a play set for the kids in the backyard? And she's like, oh yeah, that sounds great. And I'm looking up like a free sell boat on Facebook Market because it's the architect in me. Like, I'm like, okay, it's free, it's already on a trailer. And that's where the danger zone is. It's just like, slow it down, Oh yeah, a tree house, and I'm thinking of like an airplane in the tree, Like, I'm too eccentric that way. That's where I think my mom let us do a lot of things when we were young.
And you're worried this puts you in the danger zone. This makes you sound like a wonderful and outgoing husband and father. I don't think you're good. I think you're good. Here's one. From the other room, my wife likes to yell my name. Jeff. Am I allowed to yell back, what?
Absolutely.
Like, why is suddenly the work on me to get up and go see what they need? Is that now, you know what? I'm not even going to ask. I am standing my ground. That is not a danger zone. It is a common courtesy. All right, let's move on. So this next question I like to ask, all of our guests that are parents, because I think it's important to keep in mind. It is easy to get caught up in the day-to-day and the exhaustion of being a parent. What do you do for yourself to keep your sanity, to keep you fresh, to keep you healthy? Do you have a hobby? Do you have something that you like to do?
Well, right now I have a routine. I train intensely. I do a lot of intense workouts early in the morning because it's before the kids wake up. I drive at 3:30 in the morning to Murrieta, where you're at, and I work out, and I'm back by 6:30, and they wake up. And I recharge with photography. Either it's taking pictures of the kids, nature. I love doing hikes. We go to Julian on a regular basis. I love nature. Nature really recharges me.
So earlier in the episode, we had our previous guest ask you a question, and now it's your turn to return the favor for our next podcast guest. He has more Top Gun hours flown than any other pilot in U.S. Navy history. He's like the real Tom Cruise. He's the real Maverick. And he's going to be a guest at our conference coming up later this year. You might get a chance to meet him because you'll be there too. He is also a dad. Call sign, Guido.
Guido?
Do you have a question for him?
I like that. Well, first off, thank you for your service. Thank you for everything you've done for this country. And what's the biggest misconception, let's say, Hollywood gives people about being a fighter pilot? What we see in the movie compared to real life. And one more thing I just would like to add to this gentleman is, that's right, I am dangerous. I'm unsafe.
He's gonna love it. Moving on. I heard you say earlier that your dad wasn't in your life a whole lot growing up, and so what you do is so unique, kind of out of the box and artistic. I'm wondering, how did you learn that was okay to pursue in the first place? Who gave you permission to think that way growing up? Was it mom? Was there another influence? How did you get here?
Well, I do things like according to my gut feeling. I follow really like what my heart says or how I feel. And I don't know if it's, genes or DNA, and a little bit of that. My mom taught me a lot of spirituality, and it really made me believe in what I just said about following my gut feelings and following my dreams, my ambitions. And that's what led me to move out of Canada and come to California to try something new. And I would say on a daily basis, I always, make sure that my kids are in tune with their feelings. They understand. And as well, teaching them to step out of their out of themselves. And being an observer, it's very important to grow as a human being. And when you're being an observer, you're able to adjust as if like we're in a matrix, but we're a character. We're controlling the character, and to witness the emotions and analyze them and all this. So um, that's what I really I think it's as important as education, because if you can master yourself, then you can master anything.
Jerome, a pleasure having you on the show today. Thank you for being here.
And you as
We'll
well.
see you in September
Nice.
for our conference here in San Diego.
Thank you.